Okay, I'll be starting in just a minute. If you're tuning in from my email newsletter list or my community, feel free to drop me a comment. Just let me know you're here. Say hello. And we will get started in a second. Hold on. Oh my goodness. All right, so let me know if you're tuning in, if there's any issues with my sound or my internet connection. That would be great. Just tell me, because I've had some construction in the building, so that's been a little bit crazy. So today it's going to be pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I was getting inspired by this jewelry that I saw here. And I'm still trying, it's not exact, but I'm still kind of trying to capture that enamel, which I really love. So that was my inspiration today, and I did a pretty good job, I think. I just did this last minute before my live stream. And so, yeah, so we're going to recreate this. And today, like for a change of pace, I'm not using my multicolored brushes. So most of the stuff that I'm using for this demo is like wet paint mixer brushes and layer styles. But this just like having these tools like in my hand for my in my library makes things so much easier for me. It's crazy sometimes. So let's get started. I'm going to hang on one second. I'm going to leave my final design over here for reference. And now I'm just going to quick fly through here and I'll just tell you some of my resources that I've used for my own collections that I've created. So to create like the main body of this flower, I used one of my wet paint mixer brushes, and I want to say it was from my 24 karat gold collection, and it was wet brush number 4. And so I use that, and it creates like a nice creamy sort of stroke like this. And I'll show you where I sampled the colors from. So that was the base of it. And then also I used my newest Celestial Goldmine Gold layer styles here in the center. I used some of my Creative Couture jeweled styles for the little diamonds in the center. And then I also used around the corners, the edges of the flower, I used some of my, also the Celestial Goldmine, like kind of a raw gold layer styles. So I really liked those. And then I just added these like cool little stringy sort of accents around the side. I thought that was really fun from my gold play collection, but that's also using the Photoshop mixer brush tool and sampling gold. And then the last thing that I did was I added just a little bit of, also from my Celestial Goldmine layer styles, this sapphire, like a crystal sapphire layer style that I made, and I applied it with a soft brush. And I just thought it made a really cool motif. And I think you could, take this idea and create something really unique, like a surface pattern design, or you could create like an invitation, something like that. I think that's really fun. And yeah, so in case you're not familiar with my layer styles, most of them are just pattern overlays that I've created very carefully. So I've created like texture, like diamond texture, gold texture and stuff. And then it saves me time in the long run, and it lets me to add these textures to my design really fast. So you can just create some really fun, glamorous sort of things. And then I used Here I just use a very subtle jeweled layer style to create kind of some texture within that flower shape. So anyway, we're gonna get started with that. Let me refresh my page here, just make sure if I'm missing anybody. Okay, cool. So let us peel back the layers and we're going to, let's see here, group this. Okay, so this is what I started out with. And this is like the base of the flower that I drew. So I'm going to just, for my own, just to make sure that we clip through this really fast, I'm gonna like hide this and just use this as a little bit of a guide for myself. And now for this, to do this using the wet paint mixer brush, I'm going to make sure that I have my mixer brush selected, and I'm actually going to grab from my 24 karat gold collection, I'm going to grab wet brush number 4. And now if I just grab this, it's already preloaded with a nice gold, and it's very creamy, very, very fun. But I actually adjusted this brush a little bit. So I'm going to go into my brush settings. If you don't see that, it's window brush settings. And I'm going to go into my brush tip shape. And this is like a circular, it's like a standard brush. And I've got the hardness at 27, but I'm going to kind of take the hardness up, I think, to like maybe 80 or something, because I don't want soft edges on this. So I did that, and now you might see that it's painting blue. So if you ask why is it painting blue, it is because if you, like I had the brush preloaded with color, but if you change the brush size in like a mixer brush size and it's preloaded with a color, if you change the brush size, it's gonna drop that color out and grab whatever color you had sampled last. So in this case, I had sampled a blue. So I'm actually grabbing this wet paint palette that I created for myself. And again, if you're not familiar with my products, then I have the links down below to kind of catch you up to speed. So I'm going to sample one of the Sapphire color palettes here. So I'm going to option and click on that layer, and it's going to load those colors up into my brush, because on Photoshop you can sample multiple colors in your brush. So make sure that your color is loaded here, and now the brush is like ready to go and ready to make a leaf. And what I like is it's very dramatic because I put those little dots of color all together, so that gives you a very dimensional brush stroke. So I'm just gonna take my brush size down a little bit. And in fact, I think I already had one here. And you can also take the smoothing up if you want on your brush. The setting is up here. So you can take the smoothing up if you like, so that it has more of a nice, nice smooth like stroke and everything. So I'm just going to kind of follow the path that I already had drawn and just making these nice like irregular leaf sort of shapes. And as you can see, we're seeing that like the highlights and everything that's coming out. And you know what? Let me just take my original brush size, I think. Let me just make a new layer here. Yeah, I think I'll just leave the brush size. It was about 125. And it's not totally, let me see what's the settings. So yeah, the hardness is about 82. So yeah, I'll just follow along there, and I'm not picking up the brush, but there we can see some of the swirls. So we're getting that beautiful creamy sort of effect, which I like. And now I'm going to take it down just a little bit. Now I'll do this one, and you might have to like, in fact, I'm going to make them on separate layers. So I'm just going to like follow this, but I might take it up here. So I really kind of want to create a little bit of sort of a, swirl that brush around so you get those beautiful color mixing. So I think it's really quite nice. So now I'm going to make a new layer, and now I'm going to just continue to do my petals, and I'm going to make each one of them on their own layer for now, and just have a little fun with that. The ridges in there create a nice swirling sort of effect. I don't know if I love that, but have a little fun. And I like that it's kind of like, looks like it's folded a little bit like creamy fabric, whatever. So making a new layer, and yeah, we want to get some of those highlights in that brush out. So is it perfect? Not really, but whatever. Not going to worry about it being perfect. And now let's do the last leaf, and on its own layer. And yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out finally. Of course, I was trying to figure out what to do for my live stream today because I said I would be online. And I had a couple other different things, but this kind of just worked itself out. So I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to take those layers, I'm going to group them, I'm going to duplicate that group, and I'm going to, so that way I'm like not working non-destructively, and I'm going to hide the other one. So I'm going to merge that group. I will Option, drag my layer to make an extra copy, and I'll just name this base layer so that way we know that's the base layer. And now, and maybe to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to add color it green so that I just don't get lost here. And let me just, okay. So now I'm going to, I like the color. It's maybe a little bit less dark than the flower that we had. So I can, hang on one second. What I think I'm going to do is I want to just make it a little bit darker. So if you have a layer and you want it a little darker, a little bit more intense, you can Option. I'm going to just duplicate that layer. So I'm going to Option and drag that layer. And now I'm going to make the blend mode linear burn. And then I'm going to take that linear burn down. And now it's a bit more dramatic. So I'm liking how that looks. And you just see how it, so there's the original, but it wasn't quite as dark as I wanted because we want to have some really nice contrast. So linear burn, maybe we'll have it like 25-ish. I think it's good enough. So, so we're happy with that. We've got a good base to start with. I'm going to save my work. I'm going to make a new layer. And now I'm going to start by doing that gold in the center. And let's see here. Oops. Oh, Lord. I just turned on that whole thing. Okay, let's hide that. Okay, so let's see here. The center. I keep absolutely, okay. I was trying to see if I like saved which layer style it was I used. So I'm going to make a new layer. And I know that it was one of my raw gold, celestial gold mine layer styles, and they're very lovely. They're very chunky. They're absolutely gorgeous layer styles. Here, I'm gonna just quick show you guys. I'm just gonna fill this layer up here and apply the layer styles so you can see that there are these gorgeous gold, and it's it's very evenly distributed, so it's very good for your illustrations that you can add that like really easy. And I just did lots of photo manipulation and everything with those. So anyway, let me undo that. Okay, so we're going to clip through here. Since I'm applying a layer style, I don't need to use my pattern stamp or my mixer brush. And I want to say that I grabbed like, I can just use like one of my brushes that came in my 24 karat gold collection, my wet paint mixer brushes. And I'm just going to grab this gold 29. It looks okay. So I'm just going to put a little bit of gold. I'm just going to brush on this layer, which actually that was a, these brushes are mixer brushes, but it doesn't matter like which brush you use, or I'll use number 30 is nice. So it's all we care about is the, like the shape of the, that the brush makes. We don't care anything, the color or anything, because we're applying a layer style on it. So I'm just going to add some gold in the center there. I'm cool with that. And now I can flip through and see which, like which gold layer style that I want it to be. And I want to say that it was like gold layer style 8, but it's a little bit light. So what I did was I created, let me move this out of the way here. I used one of my layer style. I keep some layer styles handy. So I had a layer style that's like a darken, because I like the gold, but I want it a bit darker because I want those gems, those diamonds to show, you know, like to have a contrast. So I'm going to hold down my, wait, no, what is it? Shift key? Is that how it is? Yeah, okay. Don't forget, if you're doubling up on layer styles in Photoshop, if I just click a different layer style, like a darken layer style that I have in my Photoshop, it's going to take off whatever layer style you have. But if you hold down your shift key and drag that layer style, then it's going to apply a layer style on top of another. So this was a darken, and I just have a couple black overlays. So I'm just going to take those down, and now it's like a bit darker. So I'm happy with that. It's just I have a color overlay black with the blend mode set to overlay, and then one with the blend mode set to soft light. So now I'm happy with that, and it's going to provide more contrast with my little gems. So we're happy with that. It's looking pretty. So this is, yeah, gold 30, which is just a nice chunky brush, like a nuggety sort of brush from my 24 karat gold mixer brush collection. And then now I'm going to make another layer on top of this. And I already know that I'm going to use one of my jeweled layer styles from my Creative Couture collection, which I made a long time ago. So I'm going to go ahead and apply Jewel 1 color. So this is a jewel style. So it's going to put the jewel overlay, and it's going to take whatever color that I paint in and use that as a base. So if I painted in pink, it would make a pink jewel. Or if I painted in, you know, red, it's going to make a red jewel. But so I'm just going to grab a regular brush, and I'm going to go, I have these gemstone shaped brushes that I used for, they come with my Celestial Goldmine collection actually. So I'm using a lot of the Celestial Goldmine collection. And I'm going to grab, I'm going to grab brush number 23. It's just kind of a rough little oval shape. And now, as I can see, it's real big. So I'm going to undo that, take my brush size way down until we can, undo, so we can see like it looks a bit better in comparison to our design. So that's cool. So I'm just going to stamp, this is like just stamping some jewels here onto my design. And that's cool. I'm fine with it. I might actually expand my gold behind it a little bit. So, but I want a little bit more contrast. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a drop shadow. And I keep some drop shadow layer styles in my styles panel for it's handy for me. So I'm always trying to save time and, you know, have these things right at my fingertips. So I'm going to hold down the shift key and drag that on there. And now I've got a little bit of a drop shadow, and I can just double click on that drop shadow, and maybe I want to darken it a little bit, change the distance, like not so far, make the size, you know, so you can feel that sort of, you know, a little bit of contrast. I'm going to click OK. And now that I see where my little gem shapes are, I think what I want to do is I want to go grab my regular brush, and I want to just expand that gold that's behind it a little bit. So I'm just going to grab like brush 29 or 30 and just draw a little bit extra so that, you know, all those little gems have a gold behind it. So that's cool. We're pretty cool with that. And now what I can do, we're just flying through this. This is good. Because after I get done with this, then I'm just gonna go relax, and it's actually not it's not raining in Miami for once right now, so that's really cool. So I might actually get my butt over to the beach and go have a walk. So I want to make these little sort of, let's see here, like these little strings, I don't know how you call it, little strokes here from the center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that gold layer that I just made, and I'm going to duplicate it. So I'm going to hold down my Option or Alt key and drag that layer. And now, because I just want to work on a separate layer in case I don't like something that I did. And now I'm just going to take any basic brush, just a little basic old brush, and I'm going to take, let's see here, smooth brush, and I'm going to take the size down real small. There we go. And so then I'm just going to draw maybe just a little bit bigger. So then I'm just going to draw some sort of strokes and kind of try to follow the path of that of the swirls inside of the leaf. So let's just, and I'm not going to worry if it's perfect, but you know, just kind of put some little sort of, I don't know what you call that, like line, I don't know, things coming out from the center, what have you. Motif, it's not any like flower we see in nature, but I love creating things that are not realistic, that are fantastical. That's why like I really love getting inspiration from jewelry. I think it's so fun, and I love things that are sparkly. And so for me it's just a blast. And I think it, you know, finally I think it turned out really quite similar even to our inspiration. And so I think that was like, for me, that was a success. And I just did it in the last minute because I was like, I said I would go on live stream today and I wasn't sure what to do. So I was just like, quick, come up with an idea. Think. Okay, now I'm going to save my work. And now what I want to do is I'm going to do some of those little like, you know, you see those little like kind of filaments or that light bits of there. So what I'm going to do is go back to my like, I've got my base layer, I've got that intensify layer above it. So I'm going to make one layer above that. And gosh, I forget which layer style that I used here. Oh, you know what? I should look in here. It was one of my jeweled, okay, so it's a jeweled layer style. So what I'll do, and I can fiddle with it later, is I'll go ahead and apply a jeweled layer style onto my layer before I start drawing. And let me find one. So this is, I'll go with, oh, you know what? I think I have them. Where are they? I keep my big styles collections in my Creative Cloud libraries. So I've got Creative Couture Color, and let's just, so I, with all of my styles collections, which are really great for adding texture, I create like a little thumbnail sheet. And so that way it's got all the different layers with all the different styles, you know, on there. And that way you can take that whole document and load your styles collection instantly with one click into your Creative Cloud libraries. So I'm always trying to like make things easier, like always creating these products with like the people in mind or who are going to use that, and how I can make your life easier with the creative resources that I do. I'm just going to put Jewel 5 color on. We're going to see. And now I'm going to take a one color brush because this is a color overlay or a jeweled overlay, and it's going to take the color of whatever color I paint in. And so when you're using these overlay styles, it's better just to do it in one color. So I'm going to do it in blue. So I'm going to option and select a blue from my background here. And now I actually used, I wanted something to create these little like fibery sort of brush strokes here. So what I did was I went into my Couture Fiber brush collection, and I had this brush that's got these little like fibers. So it looks like this. And so what I did, so the brush looks like this. So I could create these directional fibers without having to make like bunches of little marks individually. So actually what I did was, I'm gonna just, this might be a little bit advanced, but I'm gonna make this angle, this is the brush tip, so I want it to be a little thinner. So I'm gonna just fiddle with that right there so that the brush mark is thinner. And then on the scattering, I'm gonna take the count down to like 1 instead of 2. And so that's just gonna mean that the marks are like a bit more spaced out so that I don't have them like super, super close together. And now I'm gonna take the brush size down. And now this is looking pretty good. And I'm gonna actually take the opacity of this down later. So now I'm just drawing those marks onto there. And if I take the pattern overlay off, you can see the brush stroke that the brush is making. So I'm drawing in blue like this, but with a pattern overlay, then it's just giving it a nice dimensionality. So what I'm gonna do, what I did was just sort of drew like this, and I tried to follow not the shape, the direction of the movement in the leaf. And then I'm going to take the opacity down because I don't want it to be too bright. So I'm going to take it to like 50%. So I'm happy with that. And so now I'm going to just go around and do the same thing. And you know what? Now I just realized I need to create a clipping mask layer, but actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to Command or Control and click on this base layer, and I'm just going to create a clip, what is it? A layer mask for that. So I don't need to use a clipping mask. So let's just add some nice sort of stroke. So I like how that's looking. And it just adds that little kind of it's not exactly the same, but it's making it look a little bit more like our inspiration. So we're loving that. And yeah. So let's just do that. Just flipping through it real fast. And yeah. Okay, so we're happy with that. It's a vibe. I'm going to hit save, make sure I say it worked non-destructively. And this is going to go fast. So the first thing I did, so I want to do kind of the gilding around the outside. So I'm going to go below my base layer first. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to go ahead and apply one of my Celestial Goldmine layer styles. And I think I'll just go with gold too. I'm not really too worried about it. I can mess with it later. And then I'm just going to take a basic brush. So it doesn't need to be anything. You can grab any brush you want. And so it's got that gold overlay on the layer style. And I'm just going to kind of go around this, the shape. And I don't want it to be so uniform, you know, so I'm just making it fatter in some places, a little bit skinny in some places. Sometimes you don't see it, but I think that adds really it makes it look a bit cool. So I'm loving it. And yeah, and then so we're getting that gold. And I can maybe make it a little bit fatter in some places. I think I'm being a little bit too conservative, but anyway. So we're getting that nice. There we go. So we like this. And now, but now I want some to cover the front of it a little bit. So I like this, this sort of technique by putting some behind and then some in front. And I don't have to be worrying about like oh, just like it makes it easier. I don't have to be worried about drawing it like so perfect and, you know, all of this. So now what I'm going to do is above all the stuff that I've drawn just now, let me hide this. Okay. So above everything for my top layer, I'm going to first, I need to put a layer mask on it. So I want to select the blue base layer, hit Command and click on that layer to make a selection. And why is that? Okay. Yeah. All right, making a selection, and now I'm gonna go here and make the layer mask. So now my layer mask is already on. I'm gonna go ahead and put on like that gold number 2 layer style. And now I can draw over it, and like I'll go where I didn't have maybe some of it. Even I could change my layer style, okay? And now I can just cover some of it. So now some of that blue is being covered. And it's just kind of cool. So it's like, I just think it makes it look a little bit more interesting and dimensional. Yeah, let's, wait, oops. And so we're just gonna kind of like cover over some of the blue. So super fun. We're digging it. It's a vibe. Oh, hey Sylvie. It's Sylvie or Sylvia, I forget. Thank you so much. Yeah, I had a fun with this one today. It was kind of going by really fast, but I really think it's fun. So we're Sylvia. Okay. Couldn't remember if it was Sylvia or Sylvia. Yeah, so that's a vibe. We're in with it. And we got the gold. Now we're almost done. Oh my gosh. So now I thought that was cool, but I saw the stem here and it just gave me the idea to like um add add like kind of like just these gold strokes around it. Like I just added a nice touch. I don't know, rather than kind of alluding to the stem, but making it more abstract or something like that. So what I did was underneath everything, so let's go to my document. So we'll go underneath my base layer, underneath my gold. I'm going to make a new layer. And the brush that I used was from my gold play collection. And I didn't have to change the size or anything. And you can go check out my gold play. It's available now for my Behance subscribers. And so it's this ropey brush, and it's got like some dry, it's a wet paint mixer brush, but I've got it set to dry. And I had just sampled some gold, but it makes this really nice sort of like ropey brush sort of effect. So what I did was, yeah, so then I just went behind and like made some sort of some strokes. Let's just go like this. No, I don't like that. So it went like this, but to add a little extra dimensionality, which really helped, I created some layer styles, some like bevel and emboss layer styles with my gold plate collection. So I went ahead and applied this accent layer style, which just added like a little bit of bevel and emboss and a little bit of drop shadow. So that was cool. And actually I might just redraw my lines because I'm just not like loving, I like the one that I made already. So yeah, more like, why am I not loving? Am I not loving it? Okay, I'm trying to recreate the one that I did on the before my life because I think it just like it just flowed so much better. I'm like, why did I make everything nicer whenever I'm doing it not when I don't want, what did I do there? Oh. Oh, you know what? I changed the size of it, and so it grabbed the last thing that I sampled, which was the blue. So, okay, so whatever. We're just going to chill out, Jessica. Okay, so what have you. It's okay. It looks prettier though on my other one, and what can you do? And then let me just check over here. Okay. And then, so then above that layer, I made a new layer and I used this chain. Let's see here. I used, yeah, I think it was this one. Okay. Let me zoom out just a little bit. I feel like we're getting cropped in here. Okay. So I used the last brush of my gold plate collection, which is just a little accent brush, but I used, of course, again, the wet paint mixer brush settings and set it to dry. So it's just kind of like restamping that brush over and over again. And so then I just added some little accent of this brush too. So I just played around, da da da. And I think even I added like an accent layer style, but I turned off the bevel and emboss because it's too small of a brush and just had a little bit of drop shadow. Or maybe it didn't, I'm not sure. If I just scooch down in here. No, I think maybe I just turned it off, so, okay. Couldn't quite remember here. So no, I didn't have any layer style, just added that, but whatever, it's pretty okay. I liked the one that I did before. And then the last thing that I did was, I thought it was pretty, but then I was like, oh, I want some like little something in the background. I think it would quite add to this. So underneath all this, I made a new layer and I added one of my Sapphire layer styles. I think it's Sapphire 10. And I took just a soft brush. Gosh, I'm gonna have to remember what brush I used. Oh, I think I used from my, oh yeah, it was actually my couture fiber again. Because I just had that open and sometimes I just grab whatever's nearby. So I grabbed fiber brush 1 and it's just a soft brush. Ah, okay, I was drawing on the wrong layer. Where did I? Okay, no, all right, I need to make a layer, apply the sapphire layer style. Yeah, and so then I just ever so gently using a light pressure kind of drew a little bit, like some nice sort of brush strokes. And then, make an accent. You can worry about the, what do you call it, making it perfect or whatever, later, but that's kind of just what I did. And I think it turned out quite nice. And I think this would be fun for like, gosh, it could be like a lot of things, but I think it's like very elegant. You could use it for an invitation. Let me just zoom in on the one that I already did because it's always nicer when I'm doing it when people aren't watching. Somehow, whenever I'm doing it when people are watching, it doesn't turn out as nice. But that is it. So it was really pretty easy today, and I think it's cool. And yeah, so now I'm pretty done for the day. Well, not done for, I still have loads of work to do, but I'm going to take a little afternoon break and oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I think a thank you note or something like that. I think it's just like really lovely. I don't know. I love things like, I love maximalism. I love like everything that's too much. And so anyway, actually what I will be doing is over the weekend, I've got a lot of resources that I need to attach to my live streams and attach to my projects for my subscribers. So that's what I'm going to do. And what else? Yeah, I've got a lot of work to do, for my members, for my followers. I've got products to release and all of that. It's crazy. For all my subscribers, I've got a lot of resources I haven't uploaded yet, so I'm going to get on that. But I am going to take a little bit of a break and try to go enjoy Miami when it's not raining, because it's been raining all the time now. It's the season. And I think I'm going to go clear my head with a walk on the beach. So thanks for everybody for dropping in. Friday afternoon stream, everybody's probably busy doing things, but yeah, it was fun. And thank you so much for Sylvia for popping on. I saw your name and I was like, even though it just had S, I was like, I know I know her. But yeah, that's me out. If you have any questions, just let me know down below in the comments, and I will see you next time. I'll be live streaming all week, and sign up for my newsletter if you're not already, because I get lots of good stuff for the newsletter, and that's also where I'll put up my streaming schedule. So I will see everybody next time with some more fun things. Thank you.